So I just want to kind of talk about one thing right now. Let me take this off. I kind of want to talk about one thing right now. I did the biggest mistake in the world. So I filmed a video like prior to this video, and it was about something else completely different. So I now have to refilm it because I was testing the audio input on here to make sure everything sounds perfectly, and I hit format for some reason. And yeah. So, anyways, on to this video. So Adobe just had their big, huge event called Adobe Max. It was up in Los Angeles and it happened maybe like 2 weeks ago. And this is where they kind of showcase a lot of like the future of like the Adobe apps, like Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, whatever apps they produce. They'll show like, hey, this is what's coming up, or hey, in 2 days, this is the software release that's going to happen, and here's what it holds. And kind of subtle foreshadowing. They did something really cool with Lightroom that I feel like would cause you to maybe cancel your culling softwares that you have, like something like Aftershoot or Photo Mechanic. And like I said, subtle foreshadowing. They now release, or you can update your Lightroom now to have assisted culling. So pretty much what you do in those softwares, you can now do in Lightroom, and you don't have to worry about loading one thing into one software and then transferring it to another, because it's all done in one space. And for me personally, I think it's a good thing. I've always culled through Lightroom, and now having something that is a designated culling software or tool inside Lightroom has just made like my work efficiency way faster, way easier. And now, I don't know, like I said, I canceled my Photo Mechanic subscription like 2 years ago, so I don't have something to cancel, but now I have even more reasons not to purchase it again. Granted, this is really meant for people who do people subject photographing, like weddings, engagements, portraits, events, etc. So if you're in the process of like product, cars, landscapes, I don't think it's going to be really for you. So kind of a little disclaimer there. This is really meant for the people who like shoot people, photograph people. I should probably reference that, But anyways, let's hop into Lightroom. I'll show you kind of the new features and how it works. So let's get right into it. Now, I'm not going to say Lightroom's going to change the game for culling. I think you're going to still find yourself wanting to use third parties. That's why I feel like right now, this is for those who just want to have like an all-in-one solution or have everything in all-in-one. I'm a big advocate of having everything in one software. I think I'm impressed that it took this long to get it, but I think what it took was for more, not development of AI, but like they introduced a lot of AI tools in here that they kind of wanted to, focus on and, take that and see like, how can we then add this later? So I think that's what they did, and that's why it took a while. But anyways, it's we have it now. So, but anyways, I pulled up Lightroom. I'm using old photo shoots that I feel like may be good example, because I do have kind of doubles, and I'm going to get into that a little later. But when you open Lightroom, right in the library tool, where you have your entire catalog showing, right below histogram, you have a thing called assisted culling. You'll have a thing that says early access. If you click on that, it'll show you kind of a step 2 guide of how each thing works. So if you forget, you can click that and see how things work. But again, early access right now, it's obviously going to change, or they're going to add new things or make it better. And I think that's what this moment right now is for, is that like, okay, we're going to see how many people use it, and we're going to see any feedback. So you can offer like feedback, like, hey, this is, what I think of that. And you can see that right down below under this here. Before I dive into the tools, I do want to say something really cool: the culling scores. Now, it separates from subject focus, eye focus, and eyes open. So I clicked on an image right now, and it says score is 95, eye focus is 100, and then eyes open, likely open. So that's kind of cool that you can get that score, so you kind of gauges like, okay, like, where am I at in this? And I think the subject focus kind of dictates it based on like, is your subject fully in focus or only partial, especially if you're using like a lens that has like a really, wide aperture, like a 1.4 or 1.2. Let me select an image where maybe her eyes look like, for example, if I click this one here, it says eyes closed, likely closed. My subject's still in focus, and then the eyes are still in focus, but it's like the eyes are most likely closed. I'm gonna click another one. Same thing, my score has changed for 88 to now 98. So it's kind of cool. It gives you a rating to kind of see where things are at. I do hope they can maybe make it easier where you can now like you'll want to see everything that is 90% eye focus. So like you want to see all those images. I think that might be the next thing they'll do. So that's my first feedback. But when we go up to, you'll see two kind of, or you see 4 columns. I'll just go with 4 columns or 4 sections where you see select, reject, view, stacking, and organize results. We'll get into those later, but obviously select is your images that are selected, and then your rejects are your rejects. Obviously that makes sense. So for example, in select, you have subject focus, eye focus, and eyes open, and rejects, you have documents, receipts, misfires, and exposure issues. I think document receipts is for like, you know, things that are like, you know, documents and receipts in there so you can easily see it. So sorry, I'm getting spam right now. But anyways, that's, I think that's what it's really for, because I tried to test around it and I noticed nothing popped up. And then misfires if your flash is misfiring. And then obviously exposure issues if your exposure is overexposed or underexposed. But anyways, if we go to subject focus, if we click on that, you're gonna get already, the Lightroom's gonna kind of separate the selects and then separate the rejects. Right below where it says view, you can kind of see that it says it's 131 selects and 3 rejects. If I collect each one, I click selects, it will show me only things that are selects. If I do rejects, it will show me the rejects, which right now I only have 3, and then it shows my score just changed. It says 45 out of focus. So it doesn't look focused, and I'll get into that. I have a theory about that. And if I click all, it will show me all the images. So in subject focus, you see this kind of like adjuster where you see sharp to soft. So I think if you use like a polarizer lens, or a mist diffusion lens, not a polarizer, sorry. If you use a mist diffusion, like, so it's gonna soften that image, kind of give like a dreamy, blurry look. I think you can adjust it and it will show you like, okay, we'll add it into your selects. So like, for example, now I have 0 rejects because I think some of the images I use on this photo shoot were shot with a mist diffusion. But then you can change it to sharp, so everything's really sharp. And right now it shows I have 132 rejects and only 2 selects. So let's go to the 2 selects and see what that looks like. That is funny because this is actually blurry. So not perfect, but it does something, you know? So, but I think it's just looking at, like, this is a really sharp image. Like, I think everything's in focus. If I click on the histogram, this was shot at f2.8, you know, 1/50 of a second. But so again, it's not perfect, but it's in its early process. And you get the same dial when you clicked, you know, eye focus. You can go from sharp to soft. So if someone's doing kind of like very like soft, elegant eyes, you can kind of see that. And if you want kind of in between, like where you know, hey, eyes are likely closed or likely open, there's an option to reject photos without people's eyes. I don't know what that does because I don't have an example. So I'm kind of curious. I want to do, you know, the way I see it is reject photos without people's eyes. Like, yeah, what is that? I don't know. Eyes open. So now you can do reject photos without people's eyes. Again, I don't know. And then reject all can't tell images. So I think that is, you know, like if the software can't determine if the eyes are open or slightly open, I think it's just going to reject those and put them in the reject pile. So then but you can also select, you know, subject focus, eye focus, and kind of get from there and adjust. So like, let's say, for example, in a conversation using a mist diffusion, you can click that, but then you know that your eyes focus, or, you know, like, you know, you shot top notch, especially if you're using a camera with eye tracking. So, so you can, like, you know, select, you know, you can do subject focus and then misfires and then get that info or exposure issues. So you can then like create a filter setup. So I think that's really cool. Obviously, like I said, it's not perfect. It's a work in progress. But it's, like I said, it's getting somewhere. Stacking. So obviously, if you're someone who uses continuous shutter, or you kind of want to put together all the images that look the same, if you click auto stack, so you can stack by capture time. So for second shooters, you want to kind of put all the capture time together. So then you can plan out, you know, getting ready, first look, you know, all that stuff. Then you can start to kind of put them together based on capture time. Or you can stack by visual similarities. So we do that. We see all the images that look the same. You can do from less similar to more similar. And if you do that, it changes to less similar, you know. So I keep it down here. I'll hit stack, and it says 1 unstacked. So that's okay. So now it tells you too, like, hey, we can't determine where this goes. I'll click stack, and then if you click the number, it will show you all the images in that group. So they kind of look similar, and I think it's going based off the haircut as well as the location. So we click that one. If we click number 18, same thing. It's going off of, you know, the location that she was sitting at, as well as the same outfit. You get out of that. If we click this one here, same kind of concept. Outfit, I think it's taking consideration of outfit, haircut, location where you're shooting at. So you kind of have that ordeal. And then if we hit auto stack and we do by capture time, and you can actually gauge between time. I don't know what the increments are because it's showing 2, 1 hour. I think it's the same concept of less and not less, or like within the hour, not within the hour. So we hit stack, same concept. You know, if I click this and I hit the histogram, let's see if it's gonna tell me the time and date. I can't, oh wait, my data. May 18th, so I don't have the time. Oh, because I'm sorry, I keep my metadata hidden. My bad. Only because I turned it off for a while. Because I don't know. Anyways, that's not important. So yeah, cool. Let me kind of reopen this, hit auto stack. And then if you actually, I learned if you want to get out of this, you just right click on the number and you hit unstack. But you have the option now to like also split the stack. Oops. So you have other options like remove from stack, split stack, expand stack, collapse all, expand all, move down in stack, all whole thing. If you click auto stack, it shows you your options. I do hope that gets better, and especially the time one. Maybe this is just wishful thinking, but maybe it will do more like you can input your own time. So you're like, hey, this was shot on this day, on this time. So then you can like then gauge everything. So you're like, oh, like this wedding I shot was on October 15th and the wedding we started shooting at 3 p.m. and we ended at 9 p.m. So then you can then create a filter of like, okay, everything that was shot at 3 p.m., everything, like I want maybe that'd be kind of cool. Maybe that's asking for too much, but I think it'd be kind of cool. And I think with like the similarities, I think as time progresses forward, the AI is going to get a little bit better and recognize, okay, like for example, image 25 and 16 are not the same because she's in this fur coat, she's not in this fur coat. Okay, let's just do things where she's only in the fur coat and without. Like I think in time it's going to slowly get better at that. But I think it's just a really good way to now cull through Lightroom. And I have a lot of friends who are wedding photographers. I think they're going to be super excited for this. I'm excited for it. I enjoy it. I think it's a really good software. I don't know. I just feel like it's going to make things easier for everyone. Will it kind of eliminate third-party culling softwares? Probably not, because they've been doing it for such a long time, and they kind of have their foot in the industry for a very, very long time compared to Lightroom. So I think they have an upper hand until, I don't know, if Lightroom consumes a program so they can take that, you know, coding and then put it in here. That'd be the likely scenario, but I don't think that's the direction they'll go into. I do want to play more with this. So I want to do a mixture of like standard portraits, some engagements. So I want to kind of see how it works. I want to do some stuff with like you know, like a couples photo shoot, see how that works. Do I see this going in a direction for like product photography, for cars or landscapes? Yes and no. I think it would be more simplified. So it'd be like, oh, what is in focus? Like, does the image look in focus or does it not look in focus? Maybe do something where like masking's involved. So then I can select the subject if it's in a group setting or something like that. You know, I want this person to be focused. You know, like I said, maybe I'm asking for too much, but I think it's really cool. I'm excited to use it. Because like I said, this was an old photo shoot, so I already edit these photos. So I kind of want to do something new and all that stuff. But anyways, that's assisted culling. If you have any questions, definitely comment down below. I'm happy to help out. Like I said, this came out not too long ago, so I'm still getting used to it. And like I said, I want to do photo shoots to then experience with it. as well as shooting at different times and see how that works. So it'll be definitely interesting. Like I said, it's brand new to me, so it's brand new to you guys. But if you have any questions, definitely comment down below. I'm just, when new stuff come out like this, I just like, ooh, I really want to shoot. I want to go do a bunch of photo shoots now. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. If you like what I do or like what I talk about, like and subscribe, dog. We're all out here having fun. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys later.